talent have a lot to do with how quarterbacks get paid. At any point, based on when you signed your contract, Patrick Mahomes can be the 6th highest paid quarterback and Kirk Cousins can be the highest. But if I was a general manager or you were, and we paid quarterbacks on what they should make in terms of winning, production, health, the ability to elevate others, I made a list yesterday, and I think it comes into 3 tiers. This is how I think the quarterback should be paid in order based on 4 or 5 factors. A big one is health. You got to be available. A second one is, winning, and a lot of that's regular season. Are you productive consistently? And the other thing is, do you elevate others? If others elevate you, you don't make my list. A lot of quarterbacks, I would say Brock Purdy, is elevated by the coach and the roster. There's no proof he's elevating. Garoppolo got to a Super Bowl and lost. That Brock Purdy to this point hasn't done anything Garoppolo didn't do. Do you elevate your franchise, your coach, your team, your receivers? That's what we saw C.J. Stroud do. We're like, wow, he's elevating others. My argument's always been Dak is elevated by others. The more Dak reliant the Cowboys have become, the more he throws 40 times or more, they have a bad record. So this is, do you elevate others? Are you productive? Do you win? Are you healthy? And here's the order I would pay quarterbacks. It's not the 10 best. It is how I would pay them based on my ramifications. Number 1 would be Patrick Mahomes. 4 Super Bowls in 5 years. He just won a Super Bowl back-to-back, where his leading receivers were Rashee Rice and Juju Smith-Schuster. He is, without question, the best and should be highest paid quarterback in the league. Number 2, somebody who hasn't missed a game since his rookie season, Josh Allen. 51 total touchdowns last year, led the NFL. 10 more than any other quarterback. 10 more. Number 3, and this is the next 4. I believe the first 2 are on a different level. The next 4 are quarterbacks I like, but they have a flaw. Lamar Jackson, I worry that he can't win in the postseason, but I would make him number 3. He has the 2nd highest winning percentage in this league behind only Mahomes, and he is, without question, the best dual threat quarterback in league history. Number 4, I worry about his age, but Matt Stafford maybe has the 2nd best arm in the league. He is probably, in terms of ability, 2-minute drill to run an offense, as good as anybody, including Brady, maybe with the exception of Brady. A great 2-minute quarterback, great arm, silly arm talent, excellent leader, academic at the line of scrimmage, but the ability to ad-lib into touchdowns. Number 5, big concerns about his health, Joe Burrow. Highest completion percentage in league history. Offensive line and injury histories worry me, but I feel like he is the one quarterback in the league that can go toe-to-toe with Mahomes and equal him in accuracy and efficiency. Health, the big concern. And finally, Jared Goff doesn't miss games. Oh, by the way, led the NFL last year in passing yards, including the playoffs, 5,400. He led the sad sack Detroit Lions to their first NFC championship in 33 years. But he's not mobile, strictly a pocket quarterback. The final 4 would be in my 3rd category, rising stars. Not everything's perfect yet. I think we'll have answers and results after this year. Number 1, Justin Herbert, first quarterback in league history to begin his career without much support on the O-line with 3 straight 4,000-yard passing seasons. Number 8, C.J. Stroud. I know it's 1 year. The kid's accuracy, poise, and ball placement is insane. First player in league history with over 4,000 yards passing and a passer rating over 100 as a rookie. I don't think he's got a lot of mobility. His comp was always Goff, but he's got more than Jared. The kid had a remarkable rookie year. Next up, Jordan Love. Week 10 on, behind a young O-line and the youngest group of receivers and tight ends, was the best statistical quarterback in the league. I know it's only been 8 weeks, but what I saw in those 8 weeks was a guy that walked into Dallas and was significantly more accurate, more athletic, and more poised than Dak Prescott. He's number 9. And 10, I worry about the turnovers, but he was the best high school and college quarterback, and he got this team a playoff win throughout dysfunction, Trevor Lawrence. 3 different head coaches already with the Jaguars. A bit of a mess. Back-to-back 4,000-yard passing seasons. This is his best roster yet. Tall, good arm, mobility, Trevor Lawrence at 10. So these, if I was GM, this is the order in which these would be the 10 highest paid players.
Okay, a lot to unpack here. This is an interesting list for many reasons, because there's a few quarterbacks that I know some people are going to go nuts over, right? No Dak Prescott. Now you just angered a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans. No Jalen Hurts. You definitely angered a lot of Eagles fans. And no Brock Purdy. Definitely angering a lot of 49ers fans. Because I know people are going to be like, well, what the heck has Jared Goff done? What has Jordan Love has only played 10 good games. Trevor Lawrence has done nothing. Brock Purdy's been to back-to-back NFC Championship games, a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, MVP candidate. Dak Prescott, MVP candidate. All of those things. And it's interesting because I said this in a previous video, as I can see everything from 360 degrees. And I do. I really take a tremendous amount of pride in that. It's something that I'm very grateful that it's just how my mind works, quite honestly. It's not like I can take responsibility for it. So I get everything that he's saying, and I can even get behind it in a lot of ways. I really, really can. But some of this feels like a combination between projection, mainly with Trevor Lawrence more than anything, because at least Jordan Love showed you that he balled out in the playoffs. Same thing with CJ Stroud. Trevor Lawrence really didn't do that. I know he had that win, but like, he did not play good in that game, at least not start to finish. And same thing with Justin Herbert. So it's tough when you believe a quarterback is going to be great, but they haven't been able to show you that yet. That's where I think Justin Herbert's the best example of that, more than anything. And so I get why Justin Herbert is up there as well. But it's really interesting because I've noticed that people are really low on Justin Herbert. But for those of you who are not like super anti-Herbert and understand the logic of someone being elite without, and just not being able to really show it because they don't have the team or the coach or what have you, like, who would you rather have if you had to pick right now? Justin Herbert or Jared Goff? Like, it's actually like a really interesting question. To me, or even Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, because of Joe Burrow's injury, right? The whole injury issue is the biggest issue with Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow was able to stay healthy, he would be in the top 3. He would be in the top tier as well, right? I don't think anyone can really doubt that. And I'm sure if Matthew Stafford was a little bit healthier and younger, it would be the same thing as well. But it's just really, really interesting to me because we give the benefit of the doubt to say, or at least Colin is, to Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert for their lack of early success relative to, say, a Patrick Mahomes or even a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, because they're saying, well, look, they have no coaching. They had issues with the roster, with their team, yada, yada, yada. And if we're willing to take that, give them the benefit of the doubt, then we have to do the opposite for the players that have had a tremendous amount of success. And say, well, hey, they've been given a lot of gifts as well. And you guys know that I've talked about this with Patrick Mahomes as well. I do still put Patrick Mahomes as number 1 because I do think he's that great. But I do think it's an interesting question. And this is where LeBron comes in, where he says there's a difference between the best player and the most valuable player. And it's potential that Patrick Mahomes is the best player, but a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson are the most valuable player. Now, if you really forced me to choose, you had to pick, you were like, dude, you got to pick right now, who are you going to pick? I would go with Patrick Mahomes, but I could really talk myself into Josh Allen as well. Mainly because I believe that Josh Allen can do more than Patrick Mahomes. So if you had to choose between Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes and said, we have the very bad Carolina Panthers team with no coach, with a fired interim coach, go win some games. Who's going to have the best chance of success? If we had to take any of those quarterbacks, actually, we don't even have to just limit it to just Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar. Any of those quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence is not going to elevate that team. Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, potentially, but they are in that rising stars. We have to see more. Justin Herbert, I'm not so sure about that. And I'm a huge Justin Herbert fan. Jared Goff, probably not. Joe Burrow, since he is all about accuracy and cannon and all of that, he's limited by his offensive line. He's limited by his weapons. I know he's won without a great offensive line, but he's had a really good coach and obviously great receivers and a tight end. So that matters. Same thing with Stafford. We know what that looks like in Detroit Lions. He only was able to elevate it so much. Now you get into the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. I think, personally, this is just my gut, and I could be wrong, I feel like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson will make that Carolina Panthers team better than Patrick Mahomes could. It's not to say that they're better than Patrick Mahomes. There is in no world where I'm going to take Lamar Jackson over Patrick Mahomes if my team is legit, right? I will draft, and if I had to just draft anyone, like I'm drafting Patrick Mahomes, number one, no question about it. But if I know my team is not that good, and I do not have a good coach, I believe that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen will be able to do more with nothing than Patrick Mahomes. Because as brilliant and as magical as Patrick Mahomes is, he still needs some of those other pieces to be able to take him to even the next level. Not to say that he's reliant on the team. It's just that some of what makes Patrick Mahomes really special, you still need someone to be on the receiving end of that ball, right? You still need a great play caller to set you up. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have the ability to kind of transcend that a little bit more than, say, a Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes can be maybe an overall better quarterback, but Josh Allen, take away his offensive line, give him no weapons, and he will most likely find you just because of the physicality, right? It really, what it comes down to is just like a Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, they have the ability to literally just put the team on their back, to just hug the football and just book it. It's an important skill set to have. So I think, again, if we're having the question of who's the most valuable quarterback, you can make the argument that it really would be Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson then, because they just do more for their team in that regard. Hopefully you guys follow this argument that I'm saying, because it's really getting tiring to hear everyone be like, you're a Patrick Mahomes hater. I think Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen in my entire life, and I absolutely love to watch him play. I do not root against him. I am not a hater. I think he is elite and is one of the all-time best. No question about it. But you can make the argument that I'm making right here. And like I said, if you're going to give the benefit of the doubt of the lack of success of a Trevor Lawrence or a Justin Herbert, well, then you have to say, well, hey, Patrick Mahomes has had some really good things in his favor. Do we, kind of pull him down slightly then because of that? I don't know. It's an interesting question. You have to kind of balance those equations. I think Dak Prescott being left off this list makes sense. I think the Brock Purdy and the Jalen Hurts, they are the two most interesting ones. Because Jalen Hurts has the ability to also do more with less than, he's I don't think he's as good as Josh Allen or as good as even a runner as Lamar Jackson. But he's definitely more in that category than the Jared Goff category, from my viewpoint. But it is interesting because I think because of Jalen Hurts not having such a rough year last year, that a lot of people have fallen out of it, because Colin was super high last season before everything kind of fell apart. Colin was mega high on Jalen Hurts, mega high on him, saying that he's just one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and now he's not even in the top 10, which is, I'm not surprised, but it's also surprising at the same time. And then again, you have Brock Purdy. I get the argument against Brock Purdy. I've said this many times, that what makes Brock Purdy special is his ability to flawlessly execute an offense. But that does make him reliant on the offense and the coaching. And that's okay. You could be a mega Purdy fan. That's okay. Everything that I said about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson being able to make nothing, something out of nothing, guess what? I put on the other end of that, I also put Tom Brady. I don't think you put Tom Brady on that Carolina Panthers team in his prime, he's not going to be able to do much either. And Tom Brady is obviously the GOAT, or under Mahomes, but however you want to shape it. He's obviously one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So again, it's not a knock. And Purdy is in that category. So I think it has the potential to make him less valuable. But, and here's the big but, if you have a great team and a great coach, then that brings a Brock Purdy, a Tom Brady, a whoever, back up to at the very top of the list, because you just need your quarterback now to execute that offense flawlessly. Something that Lamar Jackson has not necessarily shown to be able to do. That not something that Josh Allen has necessarily been shown to be able to do. I believe they can do it, but their teams are not constructed in a way that they're asked to do it. So you would then potentially put a Purdy above that in that regard. It's just interesting. Like I said, you can slice and dice this up in so many different ways. All these quarterbacks have all different skill sets and all things that make them really special and all things that could slightly pull them back. So I actually like this. This is definitely like a slightly different spin on top 10 most valuable quarterbacks and how you would pay them based on what they can do and their teams and what they're asked to do. I do think, I'm trying to think if there's any other, I guess people are probably going to be upset that Tua is not there. It's just interesting because if you really detach yourself from the team, from your own favorite, your own bias, your own, fandom, and we put all the quarterbacks back into this pile, including Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy, you really are drafting a quarterback based on what your team is. If you have that 49ers roster, you're going to go with a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, right? Like, that's what you're going to go for. And maybe even like a Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence style type guy, or Jared Goff. But if you have a team that's a little bit more rough and tough with maybe not an elite coach, right? Let's like you pick the Dallas Cowboys team. You're definitely going to want to go with a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson, right? You're going to want a Jordan Love and a CJ Stroud. You're going to want a guy who can do a lot more freestyle, can carry a team on their back. Let's say you have a roster like trying to think of another decent one. Heck, the Bills roster, right? You're gonna need a Josh Allen. You're gonna want to maybe have a Matthew Stafford who can just sling it, right? Like it's very kind of Favre-esque in that regard. It's just each team has to be kind of built around the strengths and weaknesses of the quarterback. And so if you're trying to pick these quarterbacks in a vacuum, in isolation, to me, you have to figure out, well, who is your coach and who is the team that you have? Do you have a good defense? Because if you have a good defense, you can pick maybe a more conservative quarterback. If you have a terrible defense, well, then you really need someone who can light it up and put up big numbers. You need a Stafford. You need a Josh Allen. You need someone who can throw consistently for 4,000 plus yards and 40 some touchdowns. Like, that's what you need. So it's just it is people take it too sensitive when it comes to quarterback selection, and that's why I think people get so upset. Why people are going to be like, I can't believe Dak's not there. I can't believe Jalen's not there. I can't believe. And again, if you just had a average team, which quarterback are you going to pick? If you have an average team with an average coach, I don't think Brock Purdy is going to be at the top of the list of quarterbacks that you're going to want to pick. It would be a Mahomes. It's going to be an Allen. It's going to be a Jackson, even though you could say that Brock Purdy has theoretically had more success than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Same thing even with a Jalen Hurts. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see how you guys all respond to this one, because I could see a lot of people agreeing and I could see a lot of people being very angry with this list. Jared Goff sticks out to me. Justin Herbert sticks out to me. Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence. Seems like the general consensus of fans are pretty comfortable with CJ Stroud being a rising star. They seem to be more resistant to Jordan Love, definitely Trevor Lawrence. People really don't understand why Justin Herbert is consistently talked about as being a top quarterback. And I think people take issue with Jared Goff as well. So it's funny. It's when I say all those names out loud, it's like it seems like the general fan doesn't really think that there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the NFL right now, that it's really kind of just like Patrick Mahomes. And depending on who you are, if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, you think Tua is a top 5 quarterback. Or if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you think Dak is a top 3 quarterback. So I'm excited to post this clip and see what you guys all think, because this list puts a smile on my face. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Colin's top 10 most valuable quarterbacks based on what Colin would pay them? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.